Hello there, and welcome to the Monday Sunday Miracle Lab. I used to have it on Monday, and I think about going back sometimes because Sundays are kind of precious. Naps and time with family, and I I miss having my Sundays. So I used to do them at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings. Like, let's start the week on a bang with a bunch of miracles. So, welcome to the Sunday Miracle Lab. I'm Shira Lee, and I am here holding this lab to teach people how to make miracles. Now, I don't believe that there's a lot of different ways to do things on this planet. There's we can take action. That's one way we can do things. We can align our will and focus and really stick to it, right? That's one way that we can do things in life. Another way that we can do things is by creating systems and being organized and things like that. So there's lots of different ways to do things in life. But my personality major just happens to be one of the rarer ways of going about getting things done. Um, I'm very, uh, what would you call it, like spirit world oriented. Um, I don't know exactly how this happened that I formed this way, but it was like I always had a foot backwards going. I left my foot in the door when it opened to bring me here. So, and the thing that's really unique about people that have this personality matrix is and develop in this way is that they doing miracles or having a magic wand is like action is to the action people, and um, will alignment is to the people who plow through things, right? So it's just another way to do things in life. And sometimes I'll find that I'm at an impasse, right? That, um, I'm blocked in and there's nowhere to go except for to use a miracle. And so the thing that's been amazing is that I have developed this in my personality system, a way to continually make miracles. And so this Sunday lab is about teaching people to to kind of open up some new neural pathways and to begin to develop the faith and the fortitude to open up some of that in your personality. So some people have this naturally. A lot of people so one of the things that I do is I study personality, and I've been really lucky to have a map, because the hand that comes with us is a map of our consciousness. So it's an interactive map. As I change, my hand changes, but it doesn't change a lot because usually we kind of are who we are. But I have been able to open up things. I used to never have this like angle in my hand. It's like a rectangular angle, which means that I've developed some air, which air is the intellectual self, right? The intellectual dominance. And I was born with basically none. I have no air in my chart, in any of my charts. And so what has happened with this is I've developed it. So in other words, I've been like, a fish climbing a tree and something that's very unnatural to me. And I've done it long enough that I actually have developed some proficiency in that area. And that's how it is for us to change our personalities. But the thing that's really amazing is that we are souls and we are humans, and we are both. And yet, the only thing that's stable and permanent in this life is our soul. It is our life raft. It is our our thing that keeps us from drowning. And so learning to do miracles requires exploring the spiritual self. And everybody will say that, we all have a spiritual self. But if you were like me and you look at people's hands, you'll see that there's a lot of people, most people have no clue. They don't know how to go there. They don't like spending time there. Usually you have to pass through the getting your life burned down kind of place to get to that level of consciousness. And so people often don't go there willingly. They go there unwillingly. They go there when their child dies, or they go there when they lose their job or their spouse leaves. When people are going through a divorce, especially if they love the person, then they are going to be um, going into this territory, this it's like the Badlands, that people don't want to go to. Um, my personality spends most of its time there, right? Like, in other words, that's like the bouncing point to go to lots of other places. And so if you want to know your soul, if you want to dive deep into all that is you, um and where you come from and what it's all about, and bring meaning and purpose into your life, then it requires that you take some time and do some things that are a little bit unpleasant. We kind of have to pass through that realm. It's very interesting because it's almost distortion, right? A lot of people willingly go and do plant medicines, which is a very fast passing through the realm of distortion, right? It's like everything is, you know, different. Everything is, you know, entering into a different reality and a different relationship with that reality. And there's a purging and a cleansing, and then there's a passing through and having some spiritual insight. And then plants medicines can really help you with this if you're somebody, especially that's got a really dense personality. Like, in other words, some people are just really more rooted in reality and rooted in the ground and rooted in their mind and things. And those two things are very, they don't assist you in going to that place, right? They're not tools that you can bring with you to, that are useful. It's like bringing a shovel and a wheelbarrow out into the ocean, right? It just isn't useful. Um, but so there's a lot of different things that we can do with this miraculous realm. Now things that I've done in my life with this miracle realm is, now again, you can equate this to some kind of religious idea, right? Um, Religions, like this, the religions that I've studied of the world, they seem like they're yesterday's inspirations. And if you really understand the world of spirituality and the world of spirit, it is inspiration that is alive and in the moment today, right now for us. And we can learn a lot from studying yesterday's inspirations and studying the ones from 10,000 years ago, sure. But the inspirations of today are for us, and the ones that come through us are for us more than anything. Like, the truest spiritual inspiration that can come for you is not going to come through somebody else. It's going to come through your own self and through your own relationship with this realm. Now, a lot of people, it's like going to the underworld. It's difficult to um, orient yourself that way, especially if there's trauma involved. We often can't sit still and be in presence and dive in deeper into ourselves, when we've got trauma locked in our bodies. So there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people don't visit this plane, but the reason why that would be amazing if we could all start visiting this plane a little bit. I mean, I really like the idea of us all being fully functional and full bodied, and being able to say, okay, I choose to be this way or that way, instead of I can only be this way because that's the only way that I know, right? Um, is I'm in a pretty intense course right now where I'm learning how to just really work with my subconscious mind, and in a deeper way than I've ever known before. Um, I've worked in a lot of deep ways with um, positive positive affirmations, but it's amazing when you go in and you start. It's like disciplining your dog, right? Your animal, the part of you that is just completely free and spontaneous, and training that part to go the way that you want it to go, right? That's what I'm doing right now. But one of the things that I've been kind of studying is the ideas between, it's like there's and this is what I've learned from the realm of personalities is there is no really good or bad, right? Like the action people aren't good or bad. The people that are earthy and grounded aren't good or bad. The people that like to spend all the time in their mind aren't good or bad. All of the things have good things and things that are challenging that come for each individual. So it's not a matter of good or bad. Like, we could say that being open-minded is very good, right? And being closed-minded is very bad, but that's actually not true. There are times when being closed-minded is actually really helpful and useful. When it's like we want to shut the apertures, we don't want to just have our shades open all the time and just be swayed by everything that comes our way. We often do want to, have a time that we can close the shades. When you are not open minded, you can, like actually focus and get something done, right? When you're open minded and, just open for anything that comes your way, there's often a lot of difficulty in being that way as well. And wouldn't it be amazing if we could be both ways? If we could choose to be open minded in a situation and we could choose to be closed minded in another situation. And this is the way that I look at all of the human gifts and all of the spiritual gifts is that, wouldn't it be amazing if we could develop all of the gifts, if we could see all of the perspectives, and if we could, you know, utilize a little more versatility, that more like we're in the driver's seat of ourselves, and that we're able to use different things in the moments as they're appropriate, right? Because personality, what it does to us is that it makes it to where we are myopic. We're only one-sided brained on any given issue. And this is why we have so much division in the world. This is why we have the division between, okay, so hi, Julie. So wonderful to see you. Finding a foster dog a new home. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I think that that is something that we can certainly handle. I'm going to talk for just a little bit, and then I'm going to get into um, the miracle making. So, part of the miracle making is expanding our mind so that there's room and places and structures for miracles to exist, for other possibilities to exist. So, so yes, I long to see a world where we can really versatilely, um, like it's like even with our political stuff, our political parties, with the fight between the other dualities, the family oriented people and the individually oriented people, and the fights between the intellectuals and the doers, and the fights between the feelers and the doers, and the feelers and the intellectuals. Like there's all of these arguments that we see on Facebook, all of these arguments that we have at Thanksgiving dinner with our aunts and uncles and other people in our lives, all of the issues we have with our siblings and our parents and our spouses and our kids. These issues are not really as insurmountable as we make them out to be. It is simply that we have become myopic in our ability to understand one another. And when we open up and when we become more rounded by looking at the models of life and saying all of these things are available, I can take action, I can get some grit on, I can create a system, I can work a miracle, I can charm the socks off of everybody and get the doors opened, right? I can come up with a clever plan, like I can get my bravery on, I can use my allure, right? Like all of these are strategies that humans use, but most people don't realize that all of the strategies exist. They only use the same strategy all the time. And so this class is teaching people how to dive into the miraculous realm if they don't know how to do it. And many people do already have a lot of experience in the miraculous realm. Now, I was really lucky as a young woman to be born this way. Like some of my earliest memories were laying in bed and remote viewing my entire property from my bed when I was little, right? Um, I have a lot of other very supernatural memories, and amazingly enough, I was born to a miracle worker. So, getting to watch her and learn from her throughout my lifetime has been a really amazing thing. And then I have all these miraculous friends that have come into my life. I have friends that are inventing things that work on this realm that they just seem like magic. They're amazing. Healing remedies and things like that. Julie is one of those people. Julie is an amazing person who walks between the spiritual of getting information and bringing it here to this plane and finding something that works. And my skin is so beautiful, partially because of Julie. So thank you, Julie. She has this wonderful 100 times washed ghee that is just like divine for my skin. It just feels so moisturized and so lovely. Um, and yeah, so we all have different things to offer to the table, but in the world of miracles, I was lucky enough to be taught by a remote viewer that worked for the military. And he actually, once he retired from the military doing remote viewing, he started using his remote abilities to do supernatural healings. And so I started learning how to do those things when I was a young woman. And there are people that are alive today because I had the courage to walk into that realm. And, things that were impossible, like, impossible. Last week, a couple weeks ago, I sourced a well that had no water, right? Like these things. I mean, that the well guy is like scratching his head. He's like, I might need your services in the future. And one of the things that the remote viewer taught us was how to um, speak to the water underground and how to move it, right? And when I'm doing things like that, I always try to do it ethically, right? To where I'm not taking water away from anybody else, but rather calling more water from the deeps or places where it's not being used. So that's a pretty cool thing. Currently I'm using a lot of my miracles to cause ease in construction projects, right? So I can use if I've got like when you're working in construction, you've got people that have a lot of problems and they have a lot of different things going on. And a guy being on or off could mean him doing, and especially like pouring a slab or doing something that's really needing him to be firing on all cylinders in the moment, right, is a big thing. So I can go and energetically work on my people and get them a-okay to come to the job and do a beautiful job, right? There's a lot of different things that I have done with this. I mean, sure, you can use your miraculous abilities to get parking spaces and money if that answers for you. It does for a lot of people. The only people it doesn't answer for is if you've got a money life lesson, because life is doing something different with you. It's got you in a deep learning process with money. Um, so if things are in alignment to your soul, and this is always the fact in miracles, is that when they don't answer, there's always a reason why it didn't answer, right? You call the miracle, you ask for it, but if it doesn't answer, there's always a reason for it. So today we're going to ask for a miracle for Julie, for her to find her foster dog a home. And if that answers, then there's a good reason for it. And if it doesn't answer, there's a good reason for that too. The universe is very supportive, very mathematical, very wanting and able and ready to help us. And, I also grew up, and one of the things I was actually kind of lucky out with is that I did grow up in a very, like kind of strict religious um, area, a strict religious school and church. But one thing that was really unusual about my church is that they were really miracle happy folks, right? Like they really worked miracles. And even I tried to go back when I was a young woman. I tried to go back and I joined a miracles group. And that was pretty fun. I mean, there was a lot of miracles that happened in that group. And this is the thing about it, is that you'll find that with miracles, wherever there are souls, that's where miracles happen. Whenever they focus on it, whenever they bring it into attention, whenever they join together and bring it into the forefront, we're very capable. Lynn McTaggart is doing a lot of experiments right now, and she's working with mostly the mind technologies, right? Mind based. She's a very mind based lady, and she's got people working in circles of eight. They're called the Circle of Eight, and she is a scientist lady, and she's actually tracking all of the scientific um, progress and things like that that are happening in the groups. But what they found is that 40% of the time, when eight people get together and they focus on something for just like 10 minutes, half an hour together, um, that they will get what they're asking for 40% of the time. So eight people, whatever you're asking for, that's a higher efficacy rate than any prescription drug. Now, if we put even just 1 billionth of the money, time, energy, and focus into creating miracles as we do into trying to create uh, things for profit that are myopically scary, right? Like we do with prescription drugs, where they take and isolate a message from all the other messages, because things in nature they occur in very supportive messaging structures. The information. I believe that we are information systems, and that why a medicine would work and not work has to do with whether the information is lining up with what's going on with us, right? But we're bringing information in. And, prescription drugs are kind of like where they're isolating one molecule by itself, right? One thing by itself. But anything in the world, kindness, any of the messages of life, isolated by itself. Imagine growth. Growth is a wonderful thing, right? But growth isolated by itself could be like you just keep growing until you explode, right? Restoration. Could you imagine if you just kept restoring and restoring and restoring into a never ending, but broccoli has the message of growth and restoration, but it's in a balanced, synergistic blend in the way that all of the messages and information that are contained in the broccoli are together. The plants are synergistic in the way that they're built. And when we take and deconstruct them and isolate them, we create things that have a lot of symptomology, because they disrupt things. And sure, they might hit the thing that we're having a problem with, but they can cause a lot of other problems. So, but again, so you can do miracles with information. You can do miracles with words. You can do miracles with substances like essential oils, like what I have behind me. You can do, and essential oils are really powerful, because they're like the lifeblood of the plant, and the plants are really quite eager to help us in their way that they're energetically profiled. And they can really stand in the gap for us in really amazing ways. So that's one of the other ways that I've used, is essential oils and other things to create miracles. You can do so with stones, with rocks. My friend right now is doing a lot of work with generational curses and stones and magnets, believe it or not. So a pretty amazing thing, and numerology. So absolutely beautiful, wonderful things. Um, but so back to miracles. So we can use miracles for so many different things. How handy is it to have a tool of things that you can use for all of your woes, to have an ability to create force fields around structures? And that's something that I'm doing, and I've been experimenting with it. I have a vehicle that has a really short um, uh, windshield, and I guess like these windshields just get a rock like every time you take them out on the road, and you have to replace them all the time. And that's one of the things that people complain about these vehicles, is that somehow the windshields just don't last long, because they just get the way that it's positioned and the way that everything flies towards the rig. So when I got this rig, finding that out, I spent a lot of time creating a force field around my windshield. Now, I knock on wood, I've had the car for 2.5 years and I haven't gotten a single chip in it. I haven't gotten a rock, nothing. Nothing has come near my windshield. So, amazing, right? Like statistically, if you were to look at these vehicles, that's a pretty miraculous thing right there. Now, the other thing that I'm working on too is I'm building this absolutely gorgeous black house, and it is big and it is lovely and it's out in the middle of this like plain and it's just gorgeous. And but one of the things we're finding is that the birds like to poop on the black siding, right? I don't want birds pooping on the black siding. So one of the things that I've done is kind of programmed, almost like a hologram. Birds are scared of owls, like a hologram of an owl and a force field around the house and a hologram of an owl. So I'm going to continue doing that. We still need to wipe the bird poop off that was on there to start, but and so I'm going to have to get somebody up there to do that. I'm also a general contractor, so if I talk about houses, that's why. So with that, um, yeah, it's really quite amazing to be able to do that. But I will do that for my homeowners so that things will stay away from their house and not poop on their beautiful, lovely house. And so miracles are handy because it's like you can either, like, my choices are to put some ugly little shiny things or to put a fake owl on top of the roof, or um, there might be some sonar type things or something like that that we can do, but in the physical realms, the tools are not very useful, right? And they're not very sublime. It's not a problem I can solve in the physical very easily. Now, putting something in my belly is usually a pretty easy thing to solve, right? But I do believe that we could even solve that with magic as well. Like if we were in a position where we were stuck somewhere and we had no food, like we could probably manufacture something. So essentially, when we are working miracles, we're tapping into the wellspring of our eternal self, our bigger self, right? Like most of our ideas about God, most of our ideas about our own souls are all really, really small. They're actually quite pathetic in my opinion, because it's like the imaginations are just not um, very beautiful, and very, like, they're not as beautiful as what I've experienced from life. And so I know that it's not the whole truth of it, right? So um so yeah, so we can do a lot of different things with miracles, and miracles are wonderful and beautiful. And so there's a whole lot of tool bag, like things that you can do. Like you can learn how to heal your relationships, how you can work with somebody who's being unreasonable. Like if their higher self has a bit of influence over them, then you're more likely to get through, right? I've even used it to get, to do just all kinds of things, to get the court cases resolved. Amazing, miraculous stuff that happened that really can't be explained any other way, happened during this. And I'm moving right now, so my office is just a kind of a disaster. You should see the rest of it. All the stuff I've hidden under the desk, right? Yeah. Anyway, I'm just having a lot of rearranging stuff. My family's had two houses, and we are consolidating to one house now. And yeah, for the time being, because we sold a house, so that's wonderful. So yeah, so miracles, you can do so many different things. So let's dive into Julie's miracle. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about, while we dive into this miracle, how we can do this, right? So she has this dog, and I've heard a little bit about this dog before, that somebody basically was really sick and ill, and somebody asked her to babysit the dog, and they basically had every intention of just abandoning the dog with her. So in the Sonoma County fires broke out. I protected 3 homes. The fire was raging down the valley, and it took a right angle turn away from my father's house, which was one of the houses I was protecting. It didn't angle towards other house. Didn't angle towards other house. That's wonderful. Yeah. So like it is really useful to build this skill set, and it is a skill set. And a lot of people, uh, we all have a spiritual maverick inside of us that is able to work all of these miracles, right? But these things don't substitute for taking action, for applying for a job, for applying for assistance, or whatever that we've got going on. Like there are, for us, walking one foot in front of the other. But it is really amazing that when you begin to build your skills in this way, that you do have a whole other tool set that like changes reality. And there's a lot of the CIA released some proof that we are, and their findings, that we're living in basically a hologram. And if this is a hologram, it's really quite beautifully done, which can totally make sense. I mean, I do believe it's real. I do believe that there are other realities that are more real. And we could say that, that about holograms too, right? A movie's real, it's really happening, it's being filmed, all those different things. But there is a life that that actor is having outside of that is completely different, right? So there are beautiful things that we can do with our spiritual self. And so one of the ways that, so I believe that altruism, so when we get a lot of people together, that we have a certain amount of power that's a given, right? Like our power, like our brains actually sync up. They've done MRIs, our brains change their states. We all start syncing together when we are all focused on something and together, right? But I've done a lot of solo miracles. And so how do we do a solo miracle? And that is that we use our heart power, because our heart power is way stronger. So emotions are how we can do it. Now, one of the other things that can really impede our miracle is unforgiveness. I find it's amazing when I do a miracle for children, tons of people show up, tons of people want to be involved, because people don't have a hard heart towards those new and precious little beings that are coming in, right? A lot of people don't. But when we're doing a miracle for somebody who's older, it's amazing how our little snivelly judgments and different, things about people that bother us, come into play. And animals, the thing that's amazing about them is when we work miracles on animals, they work very well too, because they don't have all the as complicated of a matrix. Children don't have as complicated of a matrix. So we're actually more successful working on children and animals than we are on adults, because an adult has a more complex matrix going on. So so really we're asking for two miracles here, because we're asking for a miracle for Julie to get relieved of her heart duty, right? And to find a beautiful place for this dog to be. She wasn't planning on keeping this dog or having this dog. And she was just kind enough to watch it and take good care of it. She nursed it back to health. And now she needs to find a home for it. And so here we are today. We're going to work on that miracle. And so we don't necessarily have enough manpower to just work a focused miracle, but if we wanted to do that, we would just focus on it happening, holding space for it, keeping it in our attention, right? And we could do it that way. But we're going to use our heart technologies instead, which is like our caring. So a lot of times making sure our heart is clean, making sure our heart isn't full of unforgiveness or frustration about the issue, is a really great place to start. So Julie, maybe let's take a moment first, and I just close my eyes to allow myself to focus. Again, the interdimensional portal, like when our eyes are open, it's really tied to this reality. When we've got our eyes closed, we are able to more easily go into the other dimensions of us that exist, right? The eyes are really tied to the mental mind, and the mental mind isn't the miracle maker. The mental mind can support in coming up with fantastic ideas and things like that, of the kind of miracles to make, but it is the natural doubter in our inner matrix. It is the one that is full of doubt and distrust, and it's supposed to be that way. So often with our mental mind, we just ask that it's like, okay, sit here, observe, record, um, but don't take over. Don't do it for us, because what we're wanting to do is we're wanting the energy of life to interact with us, right? So we're going to want, there'll be ideas that can just kind of pop in. It's sometimes really nice to get rooted in your deep breath, because that roots you kind of in more your body than just in your head, because your mental mind will try to interfere with the miracles that are happening for you, right? So often, disciplining the mind to say, okay, you're going to sit here, record, observe, that's your job, but don't try to control where I'm going, right, with this. Because like, the sky's the limits. There's so many healers out there, so many different ways of doing things. Reiki has one way of doing it that's like a little narrow, we only use this energy. But if you look at the miraculous abilities of our souls, we're very versatile. And where our power comes from is that we are souls, even though we are in a body. So we're these unlimited beings that are having an experience being limited and living in a dualistic place. um, well, what we want to do is to um, let go of our limitations for a moment and tap into our soul self. And so let's just do that for just a moment. So we're going to kind of close the eyes. And if you're driving, please don't do this. In fact, you probably shouldn't do this exercise at all if you're driving. Um, but just want to get into a relaxed state, and just take a deep breath, and take the deep breath like down into your deep, deep belly, your uterus if you have one. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to, let's just kind of work on our heart first, right? And I often will fluff the energy of the heart. I'll sometimes even grab an essential oil, one of my favorite things. So I'm going to grab just some Harmony right now, and I'm going to just kind of work on the field in front of my heart. One of the things that really works a lot of miracles too is light language. A lot of people make fun of it. I'll tell you, when I was a Christian and grew up in Christian world, we had another thing that was like light language. It was called speaking in tongues. And it's like allowing your verbal self to kind of be freed and just go with noises and different inspirations, right? And Yeah, it's actually kind of really powerful. It has a lot of power in it. Like, it's kind of amazing actually how, you just might try it sometime, just to let yourself speak some gibberish or speak some, whatever it is. There's no right or wrong, right? So light language is or speaking in tongues, or um, getting out of your boxy self and into your expanded self. So right now I'm just kind of working through the layers of my heart. I've had kind of a rough week with um, budgets and homeowners. And so just kind of clearing my mind a bit. Okay. And now we're going to just kind of, Julie, I want you to get into the space of um, your anger of being put upon in this way with this dog. Right? In other words, the way that somebody just kind of tricked you and um, and uh, abandoned this dog with you, and burdened you with this dog that had all these problems. And your, of course, caring heart couldn't turn this dog away. Rather, you healed this dog, and you've loved on this dog. And I can imagine that this person that had this sick dog and didn't have the resources to even pay you to take the dog or to get the dog well, that they were maybe in a desperate position, and they did the most caring thing that they felt at the time that they could do for their dog. I'm just kind of holding my heart and I'm just kind of patting my heart and I'm just kind of holding Julie's heart. I'm kind of patting Julie's heart. It's like, there. This was hard. This was hard being put upon in this way. Just clean it out. And now the biggest tool that I've found to clean out our heart is um, to just, fill our sadness, fill our disappointment, fill our anger, fill whatever it is, whatever emotion comes up, that this person couldn't be the kind of owner, the kind of pet owner, the kind of friend that you needed them to be. And they couldn't be the kind of pet owner that this dog needed them to be. And um, so just be with that for just a moment and just feel your feelings. Because when you feel your feelings and you feel your disappointments about people letting you down and not being to you what you need them to be to you, then what happens is that it resets the heart field. Yeah, the tears are washing it out. So that's wonderful, Julie. So like just clean your heart because some of that resentment is there, and that sadness and all of that is there in regards to finding this dog a home. There's still there something that you're processing and chewing on with it. And if we really want something to move out of our experience, we've got to stop chewing on it and we've got to release it, right? Okay, so just feel that. And when you feel like we're done, we might even bring the little dog in too, because the dog being in the sick state, and if I remember right, there was some ooey gooey grossness and wounds and just kind of gross things with this dog being so ill and not cared for properly. So let's just wash that away as well. It's not the dog's fault that the dog was in this position and that the dog's body was reacting in this way to neglect and other things. And I'm sure you don't consciously feel this way about the dog, but it's just good to, when you're working with a miracle and you're wanting to ask something for somebody or something for yourself, it's always good to just kind of clean out the issues so that you can truly let go and transmute the situation. And it may even remind you of other times that people have you've witnessed neglect, may remind you of other times that others have burdened you with things. So even just taking a moment and attending to the fact that all of these people in your life were not able to be to you what you wanted and needed them to be. That even this pet, if you were going to choose a pet to come into your life, this pet may not have chosen what you would have chosen to come into your life. Because getting our harmony, getting our all of our parts lined up, this is what releases our power. But yeah, I know you love this dog. Yes, that's wonderful. He does need more. So let's just there's a couple of different ways that I'm feeling that we could approach this healing with the dog, this supernatural miracle of calling in an owner for this dog. And one of the ways is this dog probably has a lot of experience with a lot of souls. When dogs come in, they come in and, it's interesting. I mean, the way I understand it, we can actually put some of our soul energy in a dog to come in, like just a small fragment to come in. I swear that there is a fragment of my grandmother and my mother's dog. Like I can just sense my grandmother's energy in that dog. And even when I was really lonely and afraid in my early life, in my early teens, and in really difficult situations, there was a dog that came into my life, and I swear that my husband's soul put part of his energy in that dog. That dog had a similar imprint, a similar energy. And so one of the ways that we can draw in, and what is this dog's name? And if you're watching the replay, you can still just come through this and join in your heart energy. Time is not a problem for us. So Onyx, that's a really cool name. So Onyx, we're going to just tap into Onyx's energy. And we're going to tap into Onyx's soul dog energy and soul connections. And we're going to send out a multi-dimensional beacon, basically like an intercom to all of the souls that have bonds with Onyx and his past dog lives, that if any one of them is available to come into his life now to be with him and to take him on, that he is available to pick up their relationship where he left off. Now, one of the other things that I do to kind of create emotions, now my whole harp isn't tuned, so I can only play in the lower. I moved some stuff down from one of our houses, and I don't know where my tuner is, so I've got to find it again, hoping my grandson didn't lose it. So we're just going to play on those heart connections that Onyx has with all of these individuals across space and time. Maybe someone that has other dogs, other pets, maybe a child. So we're just going to send beacons, like we're just going to get on the intercom and say, attention, attention, Onyx is available. He's looking for his next pet owner. Can send little rockets of desire to ping their hearts and to energetically draw them to Onyx and Onyx to them. I had a dog that wasn't a good fit for me. One time we were moving to town and she was just such a big dog. She was huge and hairy, and she could just jump over fences. She would break ropes. She would just get away, and we would find her. So one time she actually ran 35 miles in one night. It was interesting because when we got this dog, she was a sheepdog. So her job was to take care of sheep, but her and her brother, she was two breeds of Hungarian sheepdog, an Akbash and a Commodore. The Commodore is like the Shaggy DA, the big, really long, hairy dog. She was just like a big fur ball. And they're really playful, but her and her brother used to play, and they'd play so much and so hard that sometimes the sheep would get hurt, and they weren't doing their jobs in the way that they were supposed to, so they had to be separated. And one night, it was a 4th of July, and we had tied her up because we were going to a little party. We came home, and she had broken this giant rope. And her brother Andy I guess there was a big storm that night, and he had disappeared. He ran away. And on that very same night, she broke away, and she ran all the way out to the farm that she was raised on, that was like 35 minutes away. So it's probably even more than 35 miles because it was a long trek. 35 minutes in a car. And she showed up on the ranch. They were all just like super freaked out because Andy disappeared and she showed up. And then they called me, and we came and got her. But the very end, she kept breaking away and she kept getting away from me. And I was really frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And she kept going up to this lady's house, and this lady was a dog whisperer. And when I got her, her name was Lily, but I just kind of heard it wrong. I started calling her Lila. The first thing she told this lady was that she didn't like me calling her Lila, that her name is Lily. And this woman didn't even know. And so I was like, okay. But what was so interesting is this old man, he had lost his dog, and he had come and he met her, and his heart healed in an instant. And he just loved this dog and just wanted to give her the kind of care. And I had 4 little tiny boys, and it was fine while we were living out in the country, but anyways, it just all worked beautifully for her to find this dream home with this man, and he just had a relationship with her instantly. And this woman that she kept breaking away and going to her house, she knew that her connection was through her. It's all so much more supernatural than we can imagine. So we just call in Onyx's soul family. If he would find his way to them, that they would find their way to him. And then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to just put a beacon. Maybe there's a new soul that wants to form a bond and a relationship with Onyx and be loved by Onyx and love Onyx. And we're putting right now a force field of protection around Onyx. So sometimes I even just use my voice and blow the force field of protection. Around Onyx, that Onyx will find a beautiful and safe home with someone that will love him, and someone that he will love. And right now we even put a little band-aid on his heart, and also a band-aid on Julie's heart, as they will miss each other. A little love band-aid. And right now I see this force field getting bigger. It's around Onyx, and it's reaching up high into the sky. And there's like a tower on the top of it. It's putting out a signal. And that signal is sparking the hearts of all those who are looking for a dog to love that is like Onyx. And then I'm even going to just use my voice, and I'm going to just talk to their higher selves and sing to their hearts. Sing to their hearts of Onyx. And we're calling all of these hearts. And I'm seeing a woman. She's a fit woman and she likes to walk. And she's looking for a walking buddy. And she's looking for a rescue animal. She wants to help put someone in a pet in a good position. And I don't know, Julie, do you have any like health food stores or dog stores or stores around your house? Because I'm seeing like a little flyer with a little whip tab. I'm also seeing word of mouth traveling around your town. Be out of the house and be talking about it. Go to the park and talk to people and let them know that Onyx is looking for a home and here's how they find you. You can also put up little flyers and posters in the park. I don't know if there's any like online like animal rescue people, groups. I'm seeing that there are 3 really strong possibilities for Onyx. So I'm going to just stoke the fire of their desire for Onyx and for a dog, and for specifically Onyx. And okay, so now is the part where we trust. When we work any miracle, we just trust. We let it go. We trust that the miracle is going to answer. One other quick thing that we can do, and this is my favorite miracle tool, is to just simply take a moment, follow your cord to the bigger you. And just say, will you find Onyx a home? Put your trust in this very, very capable part. And this part may put things back in your lap, such as making the flyer. Okay, wonderful. I'm glad you got him a donor. Yeah, so I believe it's going to happen, Julie. So put it out there. Let's just pray and believe that this is in divine timing, divine will. We've put out our desires. We've gotten rid of any lesson obstacles by removing anything that we need to forgive or let go of in regards to this transaction, right? And in regards to this dog and how this dog came into your life. So, yes, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you, Julie, for bringing your miracle request. And my heart will be with Onyx all throughout the coming weeks as I excitedly anticipate his coming owners that are going to love him and really give him the space and attention he needs. So thank you so much. Those of you that are watching the replay, those of you that are watching on YouTube, this is Shira Lee, and I do a miracle hour every Sunday, except for holidays or if I get way too busy. Sometimes I don't even have the time to get on. So, check in about 1:10. If I'm not on, then I'd say that I'm probably not going to be. I'm in Mountain Standard Time. But I do this every Sunday, and I'm going to be expanding um, the the miracle making toolkit as every week as you come and join. So thank you so much, Julie, and hopefully I will have some time to have a session with you soon, probably in the next couple weeks. This week I'm drowning, so say a little miracle for me that I can keep my head above the water, and I've got to get all the rest of my stuff out of the house we're selling, clean it, touch up paint. I've got to get all these invoices ready for my owners, which is a very tedious, 20 hours worth of bookkeeping, and get my house in order. And I've got to dive deep into a cabinet bid this week. So I've got that's just a mind wrapping one. So I've got a lot going on this week, but maybe next week, Julie, we can get together. So when things settle down just a little bit. Anyways, you all have an absolutely wonderful week. And I hope to see you here next Sunday. Yeah, it is. It's fun for me too. It's just not fun when I have like tons of mental stuff I have to do, right? So mental stuff I like too, but it's really hard for me to get into. And it's the same thing with the physical. It's hard for me to get going, but once I get going, I love it, right? I've got a lot of stuff going on in my jobs too, just craziness, and we're short a stainer. So I'm really needing a stainer right now on my job sites. And this is really high ceiling, so I need someone that's experienced and able to navigate that. So let's just do a quick little 5-minute miracle for myself. So I'm just asking my bigger self, my higher self, who's connected to my oversoul, who's connected to my God spark, my personal representation in the family of the God family, that is the miraculous being that put all things into effect. And I'm just going to reach out to just ask for the strength, the fortitude, and the miracle making magic to bring in all of the help that I need. And so I'm thinking of one person that I know that does some cleaning that is unemployed, and I'm going to reach out to her. And on the staining, I'm just going to send out a beacon that a stainer will come my way, or that my original painter will have some time freed up to do it. I'm just going to work a little miracle right now for, that my mind will have all of the ability to put all of these things into place. The mind stuff is harder for me than it is for a lot of other people, but I continue to go there, and I'm learning skills all the time. And so I'm going to just kind of bring in some harp as it gets us into a more super feeling heart space. I thank you, Spirit of Love, for my family, for myself, for my customers, for the opportunity to have all these jobs and all of these exciting design projects that I'm on, and these new homeowners that are buying my beautiful house that I designed and put so much love into. And I always want to make it extra special for them this week. Extra beautiful. I want them to feel safe, secure, and wonderful about our transaction. They're going to be my new neighbors. They've become our friends. overcome my resistance to moving in so many different ways in my life. Moving into the mental realms, and the physical realms, and the emotional realms, and the spiritual realms. You see like a lubricant that is coming in and that is greasing the flow of all of these realms working together seamlessly. I bring my son Makai and my husband Jeremiah into this, as they too are just under immense amount of strain and pressure with so many projects going on at once. Stamina, we ask for stamina, strength, and beautiful little rests and spaces in between all that we have to do. That all of the pieces of matter would cooperate. Things would just be seamless, that there would be flow and groove as we're moving through this very intense time. Well, I certainly feel a lot better. Thank you, Julie, for joining into that, and thank you that watch, all of you that are watching the replay. It helps so much for us to bring miracles into our week, and I'm really lucky. Things just flow together for me, and I just trust that to happen throughout this week. So thank you so much, Julie. So wonderful to see you. I'm looking forward to receiving your special package of cream this week. Anyways, take care. Bye-bye.